through accidents and breakups, emotional and mental breakdowns, and a few interesting nights. We shared a lot of tears, but a lot more laughter. And I know I wouldn't be the person I am today without her. I'm so proud of the person she's become and the life she has chosen for herself, especially the man she's chosen to spend the rest of her life with, Keith. Today I'm giving up a lot, and if it was the person I was supposed to grow old with, but she chose true love over the single life with me. You better take care of her because she's my whole world, and I couldn't live without her. You got it, Erin. Hold on. Erin, you got it. Got this. Erin, you're good. You know, I'm a little taken towards love right now, but you guys give me hope that when two people truly love each other, nothing can keep them apart. I read somewhere that love is friendship that has caught fire. So may your fire stay strong and bright and filled with love and laughter, for at least 50 years or so. Here's to the bride and groom. I love y'all dearly.
If you thought I was, I would have. I knew you were going to do that. So as Keith said, as you guys may know, I'm his dad, and I was asked to be his best man over what's become somewhat of a traditional IHOP breakfast that Keith and I have done since he was in high school, eating our 3,000 calories in 26 minutes. Yeah, I was intimidated, and I was frankly honored to be his best man. So I kind of looked up in Wikipedia. I hadn't been a best man since I was my brother's best man, like 5 years ago, and I got a pretty good track record so far. That's my last best man speech. But I had to look it up on Wikipedia to see what actually are the roles of the best man. So I survived the bachelor party, planned it, and outlasted the groom. I made sure he got to the wedding. I made sure I had the ring, and now I got to do best man speech. So. And then the other part about the best man speech is kind of where you met the groom. So I met Keith when he was about 30 seconds old, and he was naked. And he was about 19 inches long. He was naked. He was kind of going to the bathroom all over the place. And he had this just wild hair. And I looked at him and I kind of went, I was in the back of the hospital room, and I'm like, man, you know, what kind of man is this mess of a cute little guy going to turn into? And then I, as I look back, I went, a lot of you guys here have known Keith for a long time. And some of you guys have known him for a little while. And frankly, some of you really don't know Keith at all. So I figured if I could today come up with a couple stories that gave you a little bit of insight into the type of man that he did become. So, if I get teary, I know I'm just supposed to do this, right? Or is it like, I'm not even sure what that does, but it always looks like it. All right, so Keith has always been just one of those kids that, as a kid, he was always just happy. He was just a happy little guy. Loved running around in his onesie, and if you dancing, and if you didn't watch him, suddenly that zipper was down, and he is in his birthday suit dancing around the house. So now he's a pilot. He runs around in a flight suit. So Anna Bay, if he's dancing in the house and he goes for the zipper, I'd be careful. So again, Keith, a little bit of insight into Keith, and so he's always been very entrepreneurial. He's always found some way to make money, and for those of you that know him, he figures out a way to make money. When he was in high school, most people put their books in their locker. Keith used to sell Mountain Dew out of his locker. So it drove him absolutely crazy that all these high school kids would have to pay $1.50 for a Coke. So he carried his books around with him and had like 6 cases of Mountain Dew in his locker. And so he had business cards. And so there'd be like, you get 8 minutes between classes. Keith would rush by his locker. He'd have kids lined up. He'd be selling Cokes for 50 cents. He'd have teachers, he'd have principals, he'd have the athletic coaches, and everybody's buying Cokes for Keith for 50 cents. And the funny thing was Keith is just likable. And so the teachers didn't care because he just was one of those kids that everybody just enjoyed. He was always joyful around school. He was always a good student, and they just enjoyed just kind of who he was, and so they let it go. And so being entrepreneurial, so now I fast forward a few years, and this is Keith and I, and we are driving to Pensacola for his first Air Force assignment. And we get there, and one of our nights out, we go to this World of Beer place. So this is the 3rd of July. It was a Sam Adams promotional, and there was a money booth going on, and one of those clear booths. They got this tornado going on, and there's cash flying all over the place. Well, Keith, if there's a ticket to win, he wins it. If there's concert tickets to win, he gets them. He's just, so of course we're sitting there, they give you a ticket, they call his ticket number. So he goes, it's so funny, it was hilarious. So we're watching people get in there, and there's people that are frustrated, and they're trying to grab money, and they walk out and they got like $12, $20. He looks at me and he goes, watch this. And so he goes into the money machine, and the thing turns on, and there's money flying everywhere. And everybody's looking, and it happened. It was like he turned into like a cross between a ninja and an octopus. There were hands everywhere. He is slamming money in places I don't even know where he was putting it. He's biting at money. It was and he walked, and when it was all over with, people were just laughing. Just imagine the scene. People are looking at him, and he walks out, and he just walks to the table, and he just dumps money. And he was pulling money out of his boxers for like 2 weeks. It was absolutely hilarious. And then Keith he's just fun. And it's just great as a dad to I just have fun with Keith, and I think you guys too. The other thing that with Keith that I think strikes me more than anything is he's just got this huge heart. People enjoy being around him. You heard it in Anna Bay's vows. Those vows were just beautiful, both of you guys. And he's just got a huge heart. I'm just very proud to be his dad, and I'll just give you a little story of who he really is. So about 7 years ago, my wife came down with cancer. And so it was a very emotional time for our family. And, part of, it was one of those type of cancers where you needed chemo. And one of the side effects was her hair was going to come out. And so my wife made the decision that she wasn't going to let it just fall out, she was going to shave her head. And this is actually a good story. And so we were there, and we had kind of a family, all the family was around, and I had the clippers, Deb was there, and we stood there, and we're watching this thing, and we're like, how do you start this? How do you, we had never done this before. And Keith said, I'll go first. And he sat down at the table, and he had this crazy blonde hair at this time, he was very popular in school, and he sat down in the chair, and we shaved his head. And it broke down, it was suddenly funny, and it was touching, and it was memorable, and my point is, he doesn't just tell people he loves you, he shows them. And he did that in a way that our family will never forget. It's just a beautiful, touching thing for our family. So, that's just who he is. And so so about a year ago, Keith calls me up, and he said it today. He said, Dad, I met this girl. And he said, and you remember when I told you that, he said, how you always said when you met Mom, you knew it? Like you knew it that night. And I said, yep. He goes, she's the one. And it was amazing. He said it that night, and he knew it, and here we are tonight. It was, and I know it, and many of you guys know it too. It's just one of those times that you know when that lightning strikes, and you found the person of your, that's your other half, and we're just so happy for the two of you. As you get ready to embark on this Air Force career, and there's other people here. I want to say this earlier. For those of you that have served in the military, and we've got people here. I retired. Keith is now starting off. Anna Bay starting off with him. I just thank you for your service. Keith, I'm so proud of you for being in the Air Force and serving, but many of you too. And so to Keith and Anna Bay, I just want to say we're very happy for you. And Anna Bay, you have just lit up his life in a way that we've never seen. And it's so happy for us to see the way you two are, and just to see how happy you are, and to hear that joy just came out in your oath. That's my military vows. You know, the vows today were just beautiful and touching, and just straight from the heart. I mean, it's like your heart's just poured out on paper. It was just fantastic. So, you know, now it's kind of father time. So again, welcome to the family. Lynn, you've just been. We're so happy to have you part of the family, and Sidney, you guys are just awesome. I'm just glad to be kind of joining families. And you know, as I close, I just want to say, you know, as you move forward, you know, just never take this love for granted. Just keep the Lord at the center of your marriage, and you know, just live passionately and love passionately. You guys are just passionate people. You pour your lives into people in so many ways. I've seen it already. You've been in Warner Robins 3 months, and you just are investing in kids already and youth. And just keep doing that and pour into your marriage, and have fun and laugh, because for those of us that are married, marriage is funny sometimes. I mean, it's just funny, and sometimes all you can do is just laugh. Just keep your laughter and enjoy each other, and just enjoy life. We wish you the best. And if I was holding a drink, I would say to Keith and Anna Bay, to a lifelong
In our random match, when we became big and little sisters, meaning we didn't know each other at all. I remember like it was yesterday, this precious soul came running to me that night, and the embrace that we both met one another with would be the moment that would change both of our lives forever. We could not have been a better match, and I'm so thankful that the Lord saw it fit to bring the two of us together in such a special way. I watched Anna May go through many highs and many lows, and as her big sister, sometimes mama, I was there to watch her rise and to catch her when she was falling, and to protect her as best as I could from anything that would cause her pain. I watched Anna May grow to a beautiful, strong, and confident woman who knows exactly what she wants and exactly what she stands for. We all know how stubborn she is, but that stubbornness has turned into determination to reach her goals and dreams. I've watched Anna May in past relationships when she was never herself. Part of her was always subsided. That is until Keith swiped his way into her life. Keith has been her strength when she was weak. He's been her shoulder to cry on when she was upset. And he's taken her heart and he's guarded it with his life and made it whole again. Keith, you have brought so much joy into her life, so much confidence, and more love than she's ever known. Thank you for loving her unconditionally with your whole being, and I trust that you always will. Thank you for being everything she's needed and so much more. It makes this big sister's heart happy to know that she is so loved by you. I know this sounds cheesy, but make the choice every day to choose one another. It seems simple, but life happens. We get busy, we get lazy, but always make time for one another. Never go to bed angry. Communicate with each other about everything and love each other unconditionally. I'm so happy for both of you, and I love you both so much. Congratulations and welcome to the married club. All my love.
Anna May this guy's coming to Troy that she's met. They talk 2.5 hours, and just thing goes on and on. The next thing I know, she's going to Pensacola. Her mama keeps on asking, when are we going to meet this guy? You'll meet him. About 3 or 4 months later, she brought him to Andalusia. I don't know if it was the homemade biscuits and the red velvet cake that Lynn baked and made that kept him coming back. And then we got into, things started getting serious. Well, come to find out the boy didn't know anything about Alabama football. He'd never heard of Erin. But we're working on that. He got married today. He was supposed to take a test last night, but I haven't got the results back. We'll let him get married. Because we got too much into this and too much food to take home. But anyway, Annabelle and I have been in each other's lives for a short time. And I've come to love her like my own. Keith, you got in there too, son. I'm just going to get you to eat seafood soon. Now, that's the Southern fried chicken. And I don't know what your issues are. You can eat some seafood soon at my house. I'm starved, 1 or 2. But I've watched you, Annabelle, graduate from college. I've moved you a couple of times. I've never moved you off a 3rd floor apartment either. We ain't doing that no more. Because your mama can't do it anymore. I can't do it by myself. But anyway, y'all have grown to be a beautiful couple. You've got God centered in your marriage, and that's the most important thing. And Keith, you're learning about Alabama football. That's the only choice you got to do on Saturday. That's right, Saturdays, not Sundays. And all I can say is take care of this girl, because you don't want me to come find you. I think you have realized through this wedding, I know a lot of people in a lot of places. And I don't want to have to send Guido after you bring you to me. Best of luck to you two, and God bless you.